Okay, we were talking about the Endomycorrhizae. Okay, you see this one here. All right. All right, I just first I'm going to just mention the few line already. I mentioned it to you before last lecture, and just so then I will continue after that. I think I mentioned to you this point here that attempts to culture the fungus. I mean, so for the Endomycorrhizae. No, okay, that the sorry it was Ectomycorrhizae. Now, okay, attempt to culture the fungus partner of the Ectomycorrhizae are sometimes futile or not possible, and this difficulty implies the existence of intricate and what you call a nutritional relationship with the host. Already I mentioned that to you. Then I mentioned also that the plant seed germinate and give rise to an infected plant, and the Ectomycorrhizae are established some weeks later. Okay, so now I'm going to continue after that. Are you following this okay? Hopefully, yes. Okay. Now, to continue after the last lecture, I'm going to mention now only actively growing secondary roots. Continue after the last lecture. Only actively, okay, growing secondary roots okay, are invaded. These are invaded by these fungi. Are invaded. And also to mention at this point here that basically usually the germination of the fungal spores and the growth of their mycelium is sometimes affected by what you call by the material in which basically is stimulated of the root. To mention this point here. Now, germination of fungal spores. Germination of fungal spores, okay, and growth of mycelium and growth of mycelium in the vicinity of the root are stimulated okay, they are stimulated okay, by the oxidates from the roots, are stimulated by the oxidates okay, from the root, which contain of course variety of amino acids and vitamins, which contain variety of amino acids, okay, and vitamins. All right. And basically what happens is the fungus, as a matter of fact, is stimulated by this chemical, so we call the response, it's what you call chemotropically, and then of course the hive is going to go to side toward what you call the root. And to mention, the fungus respond, to mention this, the fungus respond, we call chemotropically. Okay. To the oxidates, okay, and the grow, of course, is going to grow, okay, toward the roots, okay. What happened here? And then contact it, and adheres to it. Okay. Now also the other point to mention that also the fungus what we call produce hormones, and as you can see that also affect its structure, and it seems the hormone that really the fungus which are produced, they are similar to the hormones which are also the plant are producing. To mention this point here, hormones are produced by the fungus. Hormones produced by fungus, also probably, okay, probably influence, okay, the roots, okay, in part, okay, causing the distinctive morphological changes, causing the distinctive morphological changes. Okay. Now, usually one other point that when they culture these things, they manage to culture some of these into the dish, and then they find basically these hormones, as a matter of fact, which affecting what you call the or produced by the fungus. Mention in culture. Okay. Now these hormones should to be okay auxins, okay, ethylene, and gibberellins, or called gibberellic acid. Okay. And also a few of these fungus also kind of produce another enzyme known as cytokinin inflammation, while a few kind of produce and a few can produce cytokinins. And simply to share, basically, all these hormones also produced by the plant to do something. Because the plant usually, just for your information, I don't know, usually produce auxins and gibberellins, basically from the, what you call, from their shoot apex. And this allow what you call the cell elongation, and also affect what you call the secondary growth, affects so many things. Gibberellin also the same thing. And gibberellin, as a matter of fact, affects sometimes the seed germination and everything. Now, cytokinin, of course, from its name, but cytokinin usually being produced, as a matter of fact, in the root, and usually it goes with the xylem sap and others, it goes to the other part of the plant. And as you know, cytokinin from cytokinesis basically affect what you call the cell division and so on. And to mention this point here. Now, these hormones are also homologous to those formed normally by the plant, as already mentioned. Now, those hormones are homologous to those formed normally by the plant. Of course, by the plant, and of course they regulate many activities in the plant, and that regulate as already mentioned to you, that regulate, as a matter of fact, cell division, a growth, and other physiological processes. And other physiological processes, such as the mobilization and control of a nutrient translocation, such as the mobilization and control of a nutrient translocation. Unit translocation. And now this in general we mentioned about this. Now we're going to talk about what you call, still with this, about the carbon nutrition between the fungus and what you call and the plant. So a little bit here, a small subtitle, carbon nutrition. Now usually in Ectomycorrhizae, in Ectomycorrhizae generally, the soluble carbohydrates the soluble carbohydrates that passes from the plant passes from the plant to the fungal sheath. To the fungal sheath, as a matter of fact, here, okay, into soluble storage polysaccharide. They transfer, as a matter of fact, into soluble, okay, storage polysaccharides. Polysaccharides, okay. And what happened here, of course, their accumulation in the, what you call, in the fungal, the accumulation of these compounds in the fungus, of course, is going to make their concentration of the ions are very high, so that will allow movement more to come from the plant to them, to mention this point here. Now, this accumulation in the fungus sheath, this is M here, accumulation. This accumulation, okay, in the fungal sheath, okay, helps maintain, okay, helps maintain, okay, a flow, okay, a flow of carbohydrates, flow of the carbohydrates, okay, from the plant into the fungal sheath. Into the fungal sheath, okay? Just to make sure that okay, into the fungal sheath. And basically what happened, what does that mean? That this sheath basically is acting like a sink, what was pointed like a sink. And later on, of course, some of them, it may also go back again to the plant, to mention this point here, okay? Into the fungal sheath, acting as a sink. As a sink, and some carbohydrates okay, and some carbohydrates, as a matter of fact, may reabsorbed by the plant. May reabsorbed by the plant. Okay. Now, the other thing I want to mention here, really, just give me a second. Okay. Because the hyphae of the, just what you call the hyphae of the fungus extend all over the place, okay, and that's very important. Okay. Let's give you this, for example, this is how it looks like, for example, as you can see here, how the hyphae all over the place. Okay, so basically that help a lot. It's not only that, as a matter of fact, if the hyphae reach to other plant, they may able even to what you call to communicate between nutrient of one plant to another plant of the same population and so on. And to mention this point here. Now, Ectomycorrhizal fungi mycelium, put down here. Okay, just give me a second here. The Ectomycorrhizal okay, fungi mycelium extends, okay, in the soil, extend in the soil, play a significant, as I mentioned to you here, play a significant, something always, this camera is not that, okay. Play a significant a significant role in the translocation of minerals, okay, from the soil to the host plant. Okay. And usually, especially phosphorus and phosphate, especially when some of the plant they grow in an area which is with low nutrient, the fungus will play a very big role in bringing the phosphorus, especially to the plant. And to mention some of these, the uptake of phosphate, phosphate, ammonium, okay, and potassium. Okay, and potassium by Ectomycorrhizal fungi, okay, is significant. Okay. And that's why to mention, of course, their distribution of these fungi mentioned now. The ectomycorrhizal fungi primarily occurs. The ectomycorrhizal fungi primarily occur, okay, in temperate boreal leaf, okay, in temperate boreal leaf and coniferous forest. And coniferous forests, and usually these they grow in acidic soil that have acidic soils. Okay. And most of the time, really in acidic soil, you find quite a few of the nutrients are deficient, and that's why basically these fungi, especially like nitrate and others, and even phosphorus, they play a big role in basically in bringing these nutrients to the plant. To mention this point here, in acidic soils, okay, these forests, in the acidic soil of these forests, okay, nitrate is deficient. Nitrate is deficient. Okay. But nitrogen, okay, but nitrogen is available okay, but nitrogen is available as ammonium, and organic nitrogen is available as ammonium, okay, because basically the plant can absorb it as ammonium and organic nitrogen compound. Nitrogen compounds. And basically that's why the fungus also use some of these, but also transport to the plant. And to mention this point, the Ectomycorrhizal fungi the Ectomycorrhizal fungi, okay, not only use the ammonium, okay, ion and simple amino acids, as nitrogen source, okay, but also hydrolyzed nitrogen compound, but also hydrolyze, excuse me please, okay, but also hydrolyze, I don't know, I'm going to put it down here, but also hydrolyze the nitrogen compound. If you finish from this one, I put it away. If you finish from this one, I put it away here so that I can feel here. But also hydrolyze, as a matter of fact, I mentioned here, okay, nitrogenous compound, hydrolyze, nitrogenous compounds, okay, in the humus. The humus, that means organic material, that usually in the soil, the humus will become what you call, the organ become like a black because of, that's called the humus, okay? In the humus, okay, and use the product for its hydrolysis, and use the products, okay, of its hydrolysis. Put it down here, okay? Now, just to put this point here for you, usually the fungus, of course, after taking the nitrogen, is going to change it into what you call, into glutamine, and basically in that form is going to be delivered to the plant. And to mention this point here, after absorption by the hyphae, after absorption by the hyphae, okay, the nitrogen, okay, the nitrogen ion or compound is converted to glutamine. And in this form, of course, it's going to go to the plant. And is it translocated to the host plant in this form? Okay, is translocated, okay, to the host plant in this form. Okay. And also something also natural, of course, when especially in case when you have such hyphae all over the place, and especially if the soil contains not much moisture, of course, all this hyphae able to absorb more moisture and also able to bring it to the plant. We got this point here, just to mention this point here. Okay. Also to mention that Ectomycorrhizae, okay, can also increase can also increase water absorption water absorption for the host plant in soils with low moisture level. With low moisture level. Okay. And also the other point I'm going to mention to you here, that basically already I mentioned to you roughly that because of this hyphae is so widespread that basically especially they can connect between the roots of many plants this way. And to mention also an important attribute of the Ectomycorrhizae fungi, to mention this point here, an important mention an important attribute of the ecto, I'm going to continue here, mycorrhizal fungi, is that they can interconnect, is that they can interconnect different host plants perhaps perhaps even host plants of different species. Of different species. And that's basically what is going to happen because of that connection of the hyphae. As I show it to you, that simply as a matter of fact, that this connection could be done between different plants of the carbon and other things. I'm going to mention this point here. Okay, that just to mention you that the flow of carbon compound, the flow of, this is of carbon compounds, okay, the flow of carbon compounds and other nutrients, okay, and other nutrients, okay, can occur, okay, can occur from one host plant to another. From one host plant to another, okay? So for example, to give you, for example, that for example, if there is a dominant tree and under that tree, for example, there are some shrubs and herbs and other things, could be basically, if that tree has an Ectomycorrhizae, could also at the same time supplying other nutrient to all these plants, which basically shading, basically speaking. Thus, to mention a dominant tree may be providing okay, may be providing nutrients, okay, to the tree seedlings, for example, to the tree seedlings, okay, shrubs, okay, and herbs, okay, that it shed. Okay. And so basically, this is what I want to talk to you about, what you call the Ectomycorrhizae. Of course, we talk about it, what are usually the species they do, and which families they are mostly from, and also we did more or less about the function in which they support the plants, okay? And also we mentioned that some plants are obligate and some plants are facultative. And of course, if you come to the wasteland, usually the obligate species, they come first. And those, when they come, then they establish the mycorrhizae, then the species or other tree species, which really are obligate, then they will, what you call, occupy later on. And also explain about the importance and so on. Now we're going to move, in other words, to what you call, to the Endomycorrhizae of the fungi, in which basically we call it what you call vesicular or vesicular mycorrhizae. Okay, so basically I'm going to talk about the the Endomycorrhizae. Okay, but also we can call it that vesicular, also known as vesicular. Okay, or vesicular. Sorry, mycorrhizae. Okay. Okay, usually, of course, the endomycorrhizae, as you can see, this is basically, if you can see this one here, that show you more or less as a cross section of a root. And of course, this is basically the first layer is the epidermis, and this is the cortex. And these are either the parenchyma cell, and basically it shows to you basically what you call the fungus, which is basically inside the cell, and sometimes making a swollen thing like this. And these basically called are vesicular. Okay, and also we talk about this one here, or sometimes if you can look at it like this one here. Okay, shows you this is the same thing here. It's a bit more color, but in the end, the same thing. That it shows you, for example, that this is the fungus here, okay, and shows to you. And if you look more detail, that it shows inside the cell. If you can look at it here, okay, that this is the hyphae and how it's going basically between or inside the cell and in the end. Okay? And that basically these branches we call it arbiculars. Okay, and thus you call it what you call vesicular or vesicular mycorrhizae, or in other words, it is the endomycorrhizae. Okay. Now to continue about this one here, give me a second. Now, of course, as you mentioned, I'm going to repeat again so that you were able to pronounce all the time here. And just to mention to you here, now the vesicular are vesicular fungi, okay, we call the vesicular okay, are vesicular, okay. And usually when I write again, I'm going to put abbreviation for it like this, VA. So when I mention VA, means vesicular or vesicular fungi. Okay. As I mentioned, these are Endomycorrhizae. Okay. And invade deeply, as I show it to you, and invade deeply. Okay. Into the root. Into the root, host plant. Okay. Plant, including, of course, including even the what you call herbaceous plants, including herbaceous shrubs, okay, and trees, okay, in both, with regard to their distribution in both temperate and tropical habitat, in both temperate and tropical habitats. Okay. Now, usually we're going to mention this point here that vesicular or vesicular mycorrhizae okay, are abundantly okay, represented okay, in herbaceous plant, and growing, okay, in cultivated soil. Okay, growing in cultivated soils and also in grassland. Okay. And some of these plants, of course, they are economically important plant for us to make use of it. And to mention this point here, okay. And to mention this point here that many, okay, of the plants invaded with what you call with this vesicular, arbicicular, always of course I use this one here, vesicular, arbicicular fungi, okay, are economically important. These are economically important, okay, for example, such as, okay, legumes, okay, grasses. Because you mentioned grass, basically all the wheat, the rye, all that basically considered grasses, okay, grasses, tomatoes, apple, strawberries. I'm just, of course, just mentioning a few of these one. Strawberries, for example, peaches, and coffee. And of course, there are many, but at least these, the one. Okay, if you finish from this one here, just. All right. And it seems the Endomycorrhizae, they are much more, as a matter of fact, here to mention a few lines here, okay? Now, overall, of course, to mention here this point here, overall, that the VA or vesicular arbicicular mycorrhizae, okay, are more common okay, they are more common than other mycorrhizal type. Types and occur almost universally of course, in plants lacking other types. The plants lacking other types means lacking other types of mycorrhizae, lacking other types, of course, including some forest trees. Okay. Now, the same thing as we talk, for example, in the Ectomycorrhizae, there are some species which are obligate for mycorrhizae, otherwise, if that Endomycorrhizae is not there, it's going to die. And some other species, basically, they are, as a matter of fact, what you call facultative. Now, as I mentioned to you, going to make this point here. Now, the vesicular or vesicular association, going to mention to you, association, okay, is obligate, okay, for some plants, okay. That means this plant basically, that plant, this basically that die is being deprived. If, of course, deprived from this Endomycorrhizae, okay, and of course, and I mentioned, and other, that means other plants are what you call facultative. Facultative, okay. All right. Now, usually in the soil, these fungi usually occur about in the depth about 15 to 30 centimeter. And as we go more below, their presence is going to increase. I'm going to mention this point here. They usually occur in the top. To mention this point, they usually occur in the top 15 to 30 centimeter, okay, in the top 15 to 30 centimeter of the soil, okay, and of course, with their number, sorry, their number is here, means the number of these fungi increasing. Of course, increasing, okay, markedly at lower depth, increasing markedly at lower depths, okay. Now, you remember when we talk about the Ectomycorrhizae, I think we mentioned mostly they are, some of them mostly belong to the Ascomycete, and some maybe they belong to the Basidiomycete, or some maybe Fungi perfecta. Now, with regard to the Endomycorrhizae, as you remember, they belong to that, or already mentioned, so mostly they belong, of course, what you call to the this group of the division of Zygomycota, the Glomealis, which is already I talked about earlier to mention here. Now, the vesicular or vesicular fungi, okay, are member of the division or the phylum Zygomycota. Are member of the phylum or division, because sometimes in the plant mostly we use division, but now they use it both in plant and animal, the phylum, but division is called them division, which is called Zygomycota. Okay, Zygomycota, and as already you remember, belong to the order Glomealis. Okay, and already as I mentioned, which is basically, and the most commonly represented. Okay, represented as a matter of fact, of course, what you call by the genus Glumus, okay, or in the genus, which is already we talked about it. Okay. And basically, in that genus, basically there are more than 50, but also the same thing as happened. Sometimes not easy to grow the mycorrhizal fungi because of that, the intricate relation between the plant. Because not all the time one knows exactly what is the fungus required from the host. Okay, and to mention, which has this genus, which has, going to mention, okay, more than 50 species. 50 species, and of course, as I mentioned, only few, okay, have been successfully cultured. Okay. Of course, when cultured apart from the host, if you have the host, of course, you can culture. Cultured, of course, as I mentioned, apart, okay, from the host. Okay. Now, most, of course, of these one, which the fungi, as a matter of fact, they don't develop the spore, they don't develop fruiting body, just spore by itself, to mention this point here. The majority of the vesicular fungi or mycorrhizae, to mention this point here, the majority of the vesicular mycorrhizae, or we call it fungi, okay, do not form sporocarp, means they do not form a spore. Okay, do not form sporocarps. Okay, of course, the spore itself. Okay, and the spores usually basically can be separated, of course, by the wind, animals, or water. And to mention this point here, and dispersal of the spores, okay, it can occur, okay, by wind, water, or animals. Okay. And just to mention to you that, for example, that usually the spore of vesicular or vesicular, and to mention, I think better just to mention, their spores, mean the spore of these fungi, their spores have been detected also okay, has been detected in the guts or feces of some invertebrate, in the guts or feces, okay, of such invertebrates, okay, like, for example, as, for example, known as Millipedis. Okay, earthworm, earthworms, and insects. Insect, for example, like grasshoppers, cricket, wasp, and so on. Put between two brackets, for example, like grass, hoppers, okay, crickets, okay, and wasps. Okay. Now, of course, as I showed you here, okay, just to give you a second here, that, for example, as you can see here, the fungus, as the hive, of course, going inside and inside the cell. So basically, the only way you can do this, of course, what happening, because they produce enzyme in which they can dissolve a little bit of the cellulose so they can go inside. But this point here, so basically, that's what I'm mentioning to you here now, okay? Just to give me the second here. Okay, now, to mention this point here, that the VA fungi, I'm going to continue here. Okay, the VA fungi penetrates host. Okay, penetrate host, okay, cells, okay, by forming senolytic enzyme. By forming senolytic enzymes that digest a small portion of the cell wall. That digest a small portion of the cell wall, so that can go inside of the cell wall. Okay. And of course, the same thing of the cell wall, and of course, and thus can penetrate the cell, and thus the cells of the cortex, of course, in the root. Don't forget that. Okay, are you? Do you see it okay now? Please let me know. Because my screen here is small, so I'm not sure really. Okay? Of the cortex. As already I showed you here, that sometimes the cell, when they go, they basically, this one here is better. When they go inside, of course, they develop what you call, like this is, sometimes this is like swollen head or this part, and this is what we call vesicular. And to mention this point here for you. Okay, now, within the cell, did you finish from this one? I'm asking you. Yes or no?
Yeah.
Okay then, because the reason I don't like to leave it with this you are writing. Now, continue now here. Just give me a second here. Okay. Now, within the cell, okay, within the cell, the fungus okay, produces okay, it produces what you call enlarged, okay, or globular vesicle, or globular vesicle, and the clusters, okay, of the dichotomously branched hyphal ending, and clusters, okay, of dichotomously. I will show it to you again here. Just give me a second. And dichotomously, okay, a branched hyphal ending, or endings, okay. And basically, these are known as the vesicular, or known as the vesicles. Okay. Yeah, you can see them here or here, all of them the same thing. And that's why basically, if you focus a little bit on this one here, okay, if you focus a little bit, you can see the ending is always in two, all of this. Can you see that? Okay. And even in this one here, if you look at this one here, is always 2. And that's basically, that is from where we give this name, what you call the arbicicular or vesicular fungi. Okay, to mention to you here. And as I mentioned to you, just to continue with this one, because of that, basically, simply to mention, giving, okay, the name, okay, for this mycorrhizal type, the name for this mycorrhizal type. Okay. And sometime, to mention this point here, and also the vesicles, the things sometimes they develop swelling, as I showed you previously, and the vesicle develop, okay, as swelling, okay, swellings along what you call the hyphae, okay, at the tips. Okay. And this thickening, as you can see in this one here, okay, sometimes when they thicken like this one, or like this one here, this one thing, and basically this is as a result, of course, accumulation of some lipid and so on. And to mention this point here for you, and the high, okay, and their walls, okay, thickens, okay, and lipids are deposited, and lipids are deposited okay, are deposited as a matter of fact, okay, in their cytoplasm, in their put it down here, as basically as they mature. Okay. And basically, because of that, what you call these basically these cells which are swollen, they will function as a storage. Okay, so basically, if there is, even for the plant, if there is later on any deficiency, it can be also being used. And to mention this point, now they are properly function. Okay, and they are probably function, as I mentioned to you here, okay, as a storage organ. Okay, as a storage organs, and also as a survival structure, and also as a survival structure, okay, under adverse condition. Or conditions, okay? The same thing as we talk about, especially the other subunit, just before I don't, before this will touch down here with the mission. Now, usually you find a lot of phosphorus in this one here, okay? But of course, the fungus will make use a lot of carbohydrate from the host to it, but also at the base, it gives mostly a lot of nutrient. To mention to you this, relatively large quantities of phosphate, relatively large, okay, quantities of phosphate, okay, found or detected, okay, in the arbiciculars, vesicles. Okay. And basically, this is basically which will basically transported from the soil to the roots. Okay. I'm just trying to see the time on the transport, because the time there is a bit different from my watch here. Okay, transport from soil to the wood. Okay. So usually what happens here, that most of the time transfer, I'm going to mention this point here, transfer of mineral or minerals from the fungus of course to the plant or to the host plant. To the host plant, that's what's occurring like this, okay, and transfer of carbohydrates, okay, from the host, is the host plant, to the fungus. Okay, I think I'm going to stop my lecture here. Okay, continue. Now, of course, we have lecture. I think next week is going to be the last week. Now, and you're ready for your exam. I finished all the correction. Only like basically either I have put it in the D2L, okay, because all the time there is different way, or send it to you by email. So that's when some people ask me, I said you're going to be by early next week, because really I finished all the correction here. Okay. Now, for your material, what is left, as a matter of fact, is basically to finish about this fungi, which is not much left, and then I will talk a little bit about the mycotoxin, and of course we have lecture already on Tuesday, and I think still Friday we can teach. Is that correct like this? Friday maybe is your last day of classes, not like that?
Okay.
Okay? Now, do you have any question, please?
Hi, you said last day of class is Friday. What date?
I think not Friday is going to be the 4th, no? Next week, I guess, not correct?
No, it is going to be the 4th, so that's probably correct.
Because I think it's supposedly the 4th of the December is the last day of classes, not like that?
The last day of classes, I believe, is the 8th.
I'm not hearing you well, actually.
I believe they said the last day of classes is actually December 8th.
December 8th? Oh, that's better for me. I will check that. Okay, anyway. Because it seems I'm mistaken there. Okay, then. Sorry about that. I'm not sure then. So December 8th is the last day of classes then?
I believe so.
Anyway, I will check that again. So thank you for reminding me, really. It's good to remind me. That's good. We'll give you more time. But anyway, the material left for you is this what I want to give you, that I will finish this one here, and then what I call, and then I will talk about a little bit of the mycotoxin, as I mentioned to you, which is produced by fungi. And if there is a time left, then because also I'm going to give you a little bit, because some of these fungi being used a lot now in bioremediation. So I thought it's maybe good to have an idea about.